create a huge gap in the Leeds defensive line like you used to be able to do. So that's good. Yeah. Do you want us to? Is there anything else you want to say about Callum Watkins at this moment in time?
No, I think it's a good bit of business by Leeds. I think 2 years. I mean, I wondered if they tried to go for 3 years, but because you sort of want him to time down longer term. But I think 2 years is still a good bit of business.
Well, they already had him tied up for 2019 anyway, so I think this kind of takes him up to age 30. So what I'm guessing is at that point they'll be reassessing and seeing if he wants a lower pay deal if he's not performing, or keep him at the same level as if he is. I think because then they'll judge it by maybe more shorter term basis, I guess, after he turns 30.
Yeah, that's good. Speaking of Leeds centres. Widnes Vikings have signed Leeds Rhinos centre Jimmy Kindhorse, the Kindly Horse, on a 4-week loan deal. The 27-year-old has scored 3 tries in 2 appearances for the Rhinos this season. The German international will join up with the Vikings on Monday, 16th of April. That's today. So
that is today. I love that every press thing. I think I copied and pasted this off the BBC website, but every single way this is reported always refers to him as the German international. I think it's incredible that he played a non-sanctioned international match for Germany about 10 years ago, and he still gets referred to.
But it does to come back to, was it Rob's point earlier? It does come back to international is what sells, and it's what people pick up on.
It's the storyline. Okay, another. Sorry, Widnes just need bodies, so that's all.
If you've got two working legs and a pulse, they'll take you at the moment. And that's Widnes, not my Tinder.
Warrington centre Toby King will remain at Halliwell Jones Stadium until the end of the 2019 season after signing a new deal with the Super League side. The 21-year-old has scored 4 tries in his past 3 Super League appearances, helping the Wolves to extend their winning run at that stage to 5 games.
Yeah, good bit of business there. He's sort of starting to cement himself in the first team this year, so it makes sense for them to get him tied up.
If anything, I'd have wanted them to give him a longer deal because he's a player that I really rate. I've talked about him a lot. I think he's really, really skillful. I think he's got a bit to learn, but is learning quite fast. I think he's not making the same sort of mistakes that I associated with him when he was first in the side. So I think I like him. That's what I'd say on the kid.
I think he's definitely worth it, and it'll be one that we'll see in the future. I suppose they're just really hedging their bets that if he does not develop in the way he looks like he will be, then they've got that get out. But there we go. I suppose they've been hurt with some long-term deals in the past, haven't they?
Okay, there is a longer-term deal that's been tabled by the Toronto Wolfpack. Though this time, Manly prop Darcy Lussick on a 3-year deal. Lussick, who's 28, has made more than 100 appearances in the NRL for the Sea Eagles and the Parramatta Eels. So it's a bit of a surprise considering there was Super League sides interested in him. And the other bit of a surprise is they've not got an actual quota spot until they find someone to take.
Yes, they've got to get rid of someone. So,
and they need cap space as well, but no one wants to pay Joe Westerman's inflated wages that they were willing to offer him until for some reason he got homesick in Manchester, so was really going to suffer if he was
having to go to Toronto.
The half a year he had to spend over in Toronto. So yeah, I mean, good deal bringing in a big bloke from the NRL that'll bolster the forward pack that they lost a few players before the season started in that area. So obviously that was important to them, but I'm not sure it's a good trade for the squad strength to lose QLT and Joe Westerman potentially to be able to fit this deal in. But that's my take.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. It's one you probably, if they'd bought him at the beginning of the season when they had the cap space before they brought in Matautia, then it probably would have made sense. But now you're thinking, where do they need that extra body? And they do need some extra grunt up front, but could they have looked?
Yeah, I think another one.
Could they have looked someone a rung down, a British player possibly that would have got them over the line in that terms?
Yeah, but it's a 3-year deal, so obviously they're looking for the future, and they're looking more competent towards a Super League place, however the format might lie next year. So it'll be an interesting one to see if he does get to play Super League for them, or if it's another one of these signings that seems to not quite work out with the squad merry-go-round that's going on at the Toronto Wolfpack.
Yep, so some more news. Featherstone Rovers have extended the loan deal of Castleford forward Mitch Clark. The prop will remain with the Championship club for the foreseeable future, although the Tigers can recall him at 24 hours' notice following an initial 28-day period.
See, I'd have thought that he's already done his 28-day period, so they can recall him at any point now, but obviously that's good for Fev, and Fev have also signed Jansen Turgott on an initial month's loan from Hull. Turgott, who's 22, has made 3 Super League appearances for the Early Birds this season, so filling the pack with loan signings is probably a good angle for a top of the Championship kind of side that falls between full-time and part-time like Featherstone.
Featherstone are generally very clever in their recruitment as well. They definitely do their homework on people and say that's who we want to bring in, and it's very targeted. You don't see them just go after players. They're very much, this is the sort of person we want, and we're going to, if it takes us a while to get that person in, then that's who we get. So I think it's going, you saw early when they brought in Tom Holmes quite early on, it was obviously they decided that's who they wanted in the halves that they were going to build round, and they've got a bit of planning and a bit of nous about them, so they're not just lurching after whoever they can get. So fair play to them.
Other than when they got Gareth Hawke.
And had to, possibly make someone not quite fully employed by them anymore to do so.
We'll move on to him in a second, but we've got another news story from the Championship first, one that you might be able to shed some light on, because Rochdale have signed USA international Taylor Welch until the end of the season. The 28-year-old is a versatile back who can play at centre, wing or full-back. I think he's been knocking around in the Aussie lower grades. He came through the Warrington youth system, I understand. What do you know about Taylor?
So he signed for Oxford after the 2013 World Cup, so the 2014 season. Everyone was very excited to meet him and see him, get him on the field of play, because it's probably the first international we had signed down at the club, and we never actually saw him. He never made it onto the pitch, so I don't know the full goings on behind the scenes, but we never actually got him on the pitch. And his shirt that we'd had printed up and was already made for him used to hang behind me in the tea bar for many a year.
So it's just now in some cupboard in Iffley Road, is it? Just
who knows what happened?
Marked up as blues, just left.
Who knows what happened? I think it was the year they had the horrible bright green away shirt as well. So it was one of the ones you could see from outer space. So, but because that shirt we couldn't even sell it. We were trying to sell it for ages, and nobody wanted it. So it was one that was just hanging around.
Well, why would they when he never played? I mean,
exactly. Yeah, I mean that happens at a lot of clubs.
You could have just took it and no one would have known. I
was more honest than that. Don't know why, but I was.
Well, someone will have took it at the end, wouldn't they?
Exactly. It'll be in the back of someone's cupboard. Also, looking at the photo of him, it says he's 28. Now, if you had said he was in his mid-40s, I wouldn't have blinked.
I don't actually know what he looks like, if I'm honest. I'm going to have to Google him now. So, do you want to tell us the story that we kind of started to tease?
In a shock development, Keighley Cougars have completed the signing of experienced prop forward Darryl Griffin. The 36-year-old has been without a club since leaving Featherstone after his contract was terminated. The former Leeds and Salford forward won his case against the Rovers last week and has now joined the Cougars to continue his career in rugby league.
I can confirm that Taylor Welch looks a bit like a happier version of Danny Brough.
I mean, that's not hard. to look happier than Danny Brough looks, that is
Talking
not hard.
Talking of decent stories, but yeah, there you go. Well, let me just have a... It could well be someone's dad. You're right on that. Like someone's, it could be in his 40s.
He looks like he's an ex-pro doing a mountain climb or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. He's ripped though, by the looks of him. So we shall see if he does pull on a shirt for Rochdale. So Darryl Griffin, you were telling us about him.
Yeah, he's signed for Fev. He's surprised. He's not signed for Fev even. He's signed for Keighley after leaving Fev after all the shenanigans that went on there. So obviously his loss of earnings will be reduced now. He's got another club, so he's back in gainful employment.
Yeah, so What else is going on in League One? Let's have a look at my rundown. Bradford Bulls have completed the signings of Jai Hitchcock and James Laithwaite on month-long loan deals. The pair joined from Castleford and Toronto respectively in order to get more game time, having struggled to establish themselves at their parent clubs this year. Jai Hitchcock's made a try-scoring debut.
Yeah, he did have a very good performance yesterday.
I'm almost certain James Laithwaite was one of the players that they signed on loan when they had no one, when they were but just an ether of a club back in the 2014 relegation season. I'm sure he played some games there, but maybe I'm wrong.
They do all blur into one after a while, don't they? Players of that ilk.
Yeah, and I haven't seen him have a good game for. He's
one of those players I can't remember anything about. He just the name springs a bell, but I couldn't tell you anything he'd have actually done without watching.
He's ginger and he's quite a big lad, but that's about it.
There we go. Some more news from League One, and Oldham have signed Wakefield youngsters Luke Hooley and Lee Kershaw on a 1-month loan deal. Hooley, who's 19, can play fullback or on the wing. Kershaw is 18 and a winger. Both players are in Wakefield's first team squad. Oldham have also signed centre Kieran Gill on a month's loan from Castleford. The 22-year-old has recently recovered from a knee reconstruction.
Yeah, and it looks like Lee Kershaw was one of the star men for Oldham in their win at the weekend. So that's worked out well for them. They've obviously needed some help in the backs from this at Oldham, so they've got that. Obviously, with some young kids coming in, getting a chance to play is good for them. Yeah,
and it's probably breaks you playing on that pitch at Whitebank. Probably it sort of drives you into a ground as a back, so it probably breaks them quite easily because it's all bibbly bobbly.
I've not seen it in person for ever. I don't think, because they were there and then weren't there, then were there when then weren't there.
Yeah. Anyway, some more League One news, and Workington Town have pulled off a major coup by signing former New Zealand and Tonga international Fui Moi Moi for the rest of the season. The 38-year-old has played over 200 games for Parramatta Eels in the NRL. He came to England in 2015, spending 2 years at the Leeds Centurions before joining the Toronto Wolfpack. He was, of course, sacked by Toronto in the off-season following an off-the-field incident whilst on a pre-season training camp in Portugal. Moi Moi has recently played for Bradford and Bingley Rugby Union and has returned to rugby league with League One side Workington. Now it's the last of the Portugal free to get a deal.
But he's joining one of the others.
Yeah.
So watch out for the weekends.
I tell you what,
down Keswick.
That bus coming back and forth. That's going to be quite a fun bus, isn't it? Those two on it, amongst others.
Well, where's Moi Moi based himself? He obviously maybe West Yorkshire now. I don't know. I don't know what's up with him since he doesn't let his wife hack his Twitter and tell us all about his personal life. I've got a weird feeling that this is one of those ones that's never really going to happen.
Well, it does need some international clearance and various things. So it's one of those. So if I was at the working team, I wouldn't print up his shirt yet. Although
that's what I'd suggest anyway. Where are they getting the money from?
Well, we know how we joked when I was first on this that the Workington team could have won a grand final in 2008. I mean, even more so now.
Well, they would have had one of the best up and coming. Well, not even up and coming, I suppose, 10 years ago, but one of the best props around in the NRL. A devastating prop forward. Add
that to right. Tansy is pomp. Leon Price obviously coaching, but as
Tansy had a pomp.
Well,
hey,
a time when he was slightly more notable. Let's put it that way.
The most notable thing he ever did, as far as I was concerned, was that try he scored that never was at the first ever Magic weekend.
Ganson Gate 1.
Yeah. Okay. Some international news now. Brian McDermott will not continue in his role as national coach of the United States, according to reports. McDermott, who is one of the most successful coaches in Super League history, has reportedly informed the USRL that he will not continue as the head coach of the side he led to last year's World Cup. He's been in charge of the Hawks since 2015, ultimately leading them through qualification to the World Cup, where they then went on to lose their 3 group games against Fiji, Italy and PNG. And Mick Potter has stood down as Fiji coach after guiding the